This is lesson 1. We're going to now model this Design Showdown 2020 drawing in SketchUp. Lesson 1, SketchUp. There's some inconsistency in this drawing you'll have to be aware of, right? The columns don't line up. There's no columns on the first floor for some odd reason. And we'll model it correctly, and then you can do what you want with it. This is the building at Court Square. It's part of a large complex you can see from the site plan below here. Kimball Building facing Tremont Street. This is the back side of it. I thought I started SketchUp. There's a little lag between that window drawing. So go to a plan view, remove that citizen, and when you're modeling, you're best to work in parallel projection so you don't introduce perspective distortion. The drawings are presumably 1/8 inch scale, so let's see how they come in. SketchUp allows you to bring in PDFs, unlike Revit, where you have to convert the PDF to an image first and then scale it. So let's import. Can't remember where I put this. Court Square. PDF. Oh, maybe SketchUp doesn't let you import PDFs. We did convert them to, getting old. We did convert them to images, so let's just get those. I'll have to fetch them from my folder. Okay, I'm gonna put the images in my local working folder, and then I'm going to resume this. There's the image. Right, so file import. W Court Square. Change to ping. So we're going to have to scale this afterwards. Go into Window Preferences, and so that you need to set OpenGL to use maximum texture size. It'll slow things down, but you have to be able to see what you're doing with the image, so that will draw it at whatever resolution you've imported. Same deal with scaling, it's very similar. You first need to explode this and then double click it, make it a group. And now edit the group, find the longest dimension. I should have taken this long one here. That'll be more accurate. 64. So take the from here to there is 60 feet 4 inches. See the control box on the bottom right there. I typed it into that box. Then asked me, do you want to scale the active group? Yeah. Right. So if we've done this correctly, this should measure 16 feet. Close enough. SketchUp approach a little bit differently. I'm going to take and model floor slabs. Well, I have to assume that one of these drawings is correct or is somewhat correct. So I'm tracing an outline of what I see to be the mass of the building. Let me see. They're saying, okay, let's go to inside walls here. Let's go slab to there. And although these two columns are missing, I'm going to go around this. I did not, as I did in Revit, orient this orthogonally. I should have given us a face. Let me see. Okay. I made the mistake of still being in this group, so I'm going to cut this to the clipboard, close this group, and paste in place. I should have closed the group before I started that. Okay, so there's roughly the outline of the floor. Go to 3D view. Let's extrude that downward. I'm going to extrude it downwards because this is going to be sitting, there's a basement and that's going to be sitting on the ground. Let's push that downwards 12 inches. 12, enter. Now I have to do some layer work. Let's create a layer for the underlay. Let's create a layer for floor slab 1. Let's take this image, move it to the underlay layer and hide its visibility. Huh, why did that happen? Oh, stupidly drew that on. Let's just fill that face with it. It took the color, it took the texture from there. Took the texture from the drawing we were using as an underlay. So I'm just going to erase all that or fill it. Right. Not that anybody would notice, but in case it bothers somebody. Alright. Triple click this. Make it a group. And move it to floor 1. Top view. So now we can control visibility settings for the underlay and the floor slab. Don't ever change the active layer. There's very little reason to ever do this, and if you draw geometry on layers other than the active layer, layer 0, and you accidentally group something and you hide those layers, you'll never be able to retrieve that geometry or resolve whatever errors are generated as a result of that. So we have a basement. Presumably the basement is a similar shape as the floor, the first floor, the outline that is. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to create a layer called floor basement and create a copy of the slab that we modeled for floor 1 and put it in the basement. Now, this is reporting on both these. We have a notation that there's 11.8 to height to deck. So we're being told that 11.8, which is perfect multiple of 7 inches, is the floor-to-floor height between the basement and the first floor. So watch carefully what I do now. In 3D, I'm taking this group, I'm making a copy of it. Tap the control key downwards, and because component attributes can be applied to groups, we can set the Z coordinate for both these slabs. Let me save this file because SketchUp complains. Save as W. Chord square. In SketchUp Lesson 1. Okay. Let's move that solid group to floor basement. Remember, we made a copy of it, so it inherited the layer that it was on. Component attributes, window component attribute. We're going to assign a Z coordinate, that is, an elevational number or value, the position Z. Right now it's minus 12. So that's to the underside of the floor. That's where we wanted that. Remember, we said that floor to floor height. Let's do the same for this. Z coordinate is going to be minus 11.8 plus the thickness of the floor, so minus 12.8. Why did we do that? Because we want the floor-to-floor height to be 11.8. So we can take a tape measure Oops. I should not have added the thickness of the floor. We want the floor to... Oh, no. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm right. Floor to floor. 11/8. We want the floor to floor height to be 11/8. Okay? So a lot of the problem has been framed so far in this drawing. I like to save out scenes, so isometric floors only. Now I'd like to model the columns. Let's save this as lesson 1. Lesson 1 will be floors, and we'll save the file accordingly.